Hello guys, welcome back, horse guys and gals. Hope you all are having a wonderful summer so far. It's officially summer as of about a week ago, although it's felt like summer here in Iowa for at least a month. But anyways, I am here at home today on my day off, so I figured this would be a great time to sit down and catch up with you guys and do another little podcast episode. My apologies to those of you that most of you I think watch on YouTube. The the new setup that I'm using, like I haven't quite figured it all out yet on how to like record video footage to match it up with the audio footage, but I'm using a new system that I can have better auto quality on. So until I get that figured out, you'll just have to look at this lovely picture here of me and Luna. But hopefully in the future that I will figure that out. But I'm here on Thursday on my day off, hanging out inside. It's actually a beautiful day out, so as soon as I'm done with this episode, I'm definitely going to go outside and get some work done. I have some client horses coming this weekend to be started. I have a lady bringing 2 3-year-olds for at least 60 days, and so that's exciting. But I need to go just move some horses around. The pen I want to put them in is the one that Stella is in right now, and so Stella is gonna have to just go back to a smaller pen for the time being because these 2 horses are herd mates already, and I feel like just putting them back there together will be the easiest option for them. So I need to move Stella, and I might work with her today too. We'll see. And she has kind of wrecked some of the fence over there, so I need to touch it up and fix it. But otherwise, yeah, it's a beautiful day. I want to go out and work on some furniture I've been flipping and to just get some stuff done. So yeah, we'll see about that after this episode. But I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of honestly just whatever today. I don't have a real set plan for this video. I have a few things I want to talk about, but I posted a vlog the other day. And my vlogs, I'm not really that good of a vlogger. So my vlogs generally take place over at least the whole week, maybe a couple weeks. And I just put in like some clips here and there of random stuff that I'm doing. I forget that I'm vlogging a lot of days if I'm real busy, so I'll get a few clips and then just like boom, it's 3 days later. But I posted a vlog a few days ago of just me and Mel working with some horses, me riding Hazel, me going on the trail ride and stuff like that. So I wanted to touch a little bit on that. I got some comments on that video of me working with Hazel. So if you didn't see my last vlog, part of it was me. I wanted to take Hazel on the group trail ride that I was going to over the weekend, and I wanted to just pony her along. Not ride her on the trail ride, but just bring her with us and pony her off BB so that she could get the experience. And so I wanted to practice at home ahead of time so that we were prepared for the day of the ride and didn't have any problems. Well, that's not really how Hazel works. So I practiced at home with her. I got BB out, and I was just planning to pony her around the waterways and stuff in the field, and no big deal. So I go out with BB and Hazel in hand, and here's the thing. Hazel has been taught how to pony. She knows how to be ponied. The trainer that I sent her to over the winter ponied her all over the place. I think that's actually how they did a lot of work with her, was ponying her off another horse, because it really helped with her confidence. So this is not her first rodeo. This is not the first time she's done this. And overall, she did okay. I took her out the waterway across the little creek there, and I was just planning to go down across the field and back with her. And I think what really didn't help was that Rojo really, I think is attached mostly to Hazel, but I had Hazel and BB both gone. So their herd is BB, Hazel, Rojo, and Chance. So half the herd was gone. Rojo was at home screaming just over and over and over again, calling for them. So we're out in the field, and Hazel can hear Rojo screaming. And I think that kind of contributed to her attitude a little bit. So she started to kind of get a little prancy, and so I just gave her a little bop on the lead rope to like, hey, quit it. And she just ripped away. And now this has been an ongoing problem with Hazel, like ever since her first owners. She has always been either a bolter, or occasionally she'll set back if she's hard tied to something. So she rips away and gets away from me. And she runs around the field a little bit. She can't figure out how to actually cross the creek and go home. So I follow her with BB, and eventually she figures out how to get across the creek and she runs back home. So I go back home and get her. Take her back out, and we don't even get like 100 feet out the driveway, and she just rips back and runs home again. So at this point, I'm pissed. So I chase her back home. She jumps over the fence back into her paddock. I go get her, and I bring her back out, and I just lunge the crap out of her until she is sweaty, she's dripping, and she's exhausted. Because my goal was basically, I cannot let her come out on top in this situation. I cannot let her ever get something positive out of ripping back or setting back or anything like that. It should absolutely never work out for her to have that habit. So she got the crap lunged out of her, and at this point I felt bad for BB. I've been like riding the shit out of BB to chase Hazel around. So I tie up BB and I walk Hazel on foot. I just walk her down the road, back down the road. She's sweaty and tired and huffing and puffing because she just got the crap lunged out of her, and I tie her to a telephone pole, and that's where she gets her break, is away from the other horses, down our lane. She's not all the way out like she was, but she's at least down our lane off the property. She's not around any other horses, and I tie her up. And I leave her there for a little while to contemplate her decisions. And maybe that's not how everyone would handle it, but at this point with Hazel, I'm like, she has been in training long enough that this habit that she has of just ripping away should absolutely never come out a positive experience for her. She should never get something out of it. So I could not let her win this situation by just leaving her at home. She had to be exhausted next to her friends that she wanted to be by so bad, and then go somewhere else away from them to have a rest. So that's what I did. And some people in the comments were kind of like, well, later in the vlog I was talking about how I kind of felt like a bad trainer because I didn't end up taking her to that trail ride. But I didn't end up taking her to the trail ride because I was just kind of, for one, frustrated and irritated with her. And two, I just didn't want something bad to happen like that again in a big group of people, which, to be honest, I don't think it would have. I think part of the reason that she ripped away and pulled like that was because she was actively walking away from the barn into territory she's never been in before while listening to her friends scream for her at home. So I think that the recipe all kind of worked together to overwhelm her. Or not, I don't even think she was overwhelmed. I think she was just like, she has that habit of trying to pull back and see what happens, and that's what she did, and she got away, and then so she did it right away again when I caught her. But being in a foreign place with a bunch of horses that are all walking out at the same time, all going together, she doesn't have anywhere to run off that's familiar to, she only has BB, she might have been okay, really. But I was just irritated and frustrated with her, and I actually did, I'm not even joking, I woke up in a bad mood that day. The day of the trail ride, I woke up and I was just like, I don't want to freaking work with horses today. I don't want to deal with these Greenbroke assholes, especially Hazel. Hazel is like genuinely an asshole. And not just like she does silly things because she's a green horse and she doesn't know. It's that she does know things and she's been taught them over and over again, and she just flat out knows that she's stronger, and if she doesn't want to do it, she can do what she wants. And I just didn't want to deal with it that day. I was like, you know what, I'm already kind of just like on edge today. I don't know why. I'm not in a good mood. I'm kind of pissed off. My patience is a little low. and I just want to go for a nice, like, relaxing trail ride with my friends. So I just took BB, and we had a great ride. And then I was in a lot better mood after our ride. And you know what? I'm human. I get in bad moods sometimes, especially working with horses that frustrate me all the time. Sometimes I just get in a bad mood. But I do really try to actively select when I'm in those bad moods and recognize that I am in this mood right now and I'm not in a space to work with green horses. So I took my well-broke horse and we went on, had a nice ride. So I got some comments, you know, saying that, like, Hazel really needs to learn how to give depressure before she, you know, does tasks like this. And this is what I mean. This is why I get so frustrated with her. She is by far the most difficult project horse I've had, in the fact that, like, she does know things and she does get taught them. And it's like, if she doesn't do them on a weekly basis, like if we learn material and we don't keep revisiting it over and over and over and over again, it is like she never learns it. Which is why the people that have passed her around this far in her life have ultimately, you know, passed her on to somebody else, is because she has to be consistently taught something, or it's as if she never learned it. It all goes away again, which is why I sent her to a trainer over the winter, because I don't have indoor facilities, and I wanted her to keep being worked on a consistent basis. And that's honestly when she made the most progress. So the things like with her bolting and pulling back and stuff, it literally never works out in her favor. I mean, she never gets rewarded for that. When she sets back, like when I tie her to my trailer and she sets back, she clotheslines herself. And then it's literally like she snaps right out of it. She's like, oh shit, that kind of hurt, and I'm not going to do that again. And she doesn't do it again. But it's like just that initial, I don't know where I am, I don't like this, I'm going to pull. And then when it doesn't work for her, she's like, oh, all right, that didn't work. But it's like she never learns from it. That's still her default reaction every time, and she never learns from it. I've had her out at home where I've just gotten her out, I tie her to a tree, and she's like, oh, I've never been over here before. Sets back, and then is like, that hurt. And then she's fine. She's fine the rest of the day. It's like, I don't understand. Like, I've never had a horse like this that just, like, keeps doing something when it doesn't work out for them, and will just keep doing it, even though every time she never comes out on top. When I bought her, she had a really bad bolting problem with the people that had her before, and when I went to get her the day that I got her, it took me like 2 hours to load her, because every time she would walk up to the trailer, she would rip the rope out of my hands and run off. She'd bolt back down to the other end of the alley. I'd go get her, bring her back. She'd bolt again. I'd go get her, bring her back. She'd bolt again. And we did that literally for 2 hours until she was so tired and exhausted and realized she was not going to win this situation. And she literally, you guys, loaded herself in the trailer. I brought her back down to the door of the trailer. She looked at it, sniffed the floor, and literally stepped into it herself. I didn't even have to walk in with her. She just walked right into it. I was like, yeah, this horse knows how to load. But she will sit here and fight you over and over and over again until she figures out that she can't win. And that's almost how it is even still. Like, she's been in a trailer, she's been hauled, she's like, any other like normal horse would have learned this by now. But she still, even if, you know, it's been a few weeks since we've had her in a trailer. I took her to a show about a month ago. That was the last time she'd been in a trailer. I guarantee if I walk her up to a trailer today, she'll bolt and run away from it. Because she just, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the Mustang influence on her, that no matter what she does genetically, that will be her first instinct always. But I know so many people that have Mustangs and they love them and that break them out really well, and they are great horses. They're super smart, they're super athletic, they're super willing. But like, Hazel is just not one of those horses. And so that's where I get so frustrated with her, where I'm just like, I don't know what the hell to do with her at this point, because everything I do, no matter what, like if we don't do it every single day, she's just going to unlearn it. And so like you put all this time and this work and this effort into training this horse, and no matter what you do, she's going to unlearn it anyways. And that's not normal. And like I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm a bad trainer. I think that this horse is just not capable of the things that like most of my horses are. At least not in this situation, not in a regular situation like most of my horses are, where like they get worked a few times a week. And you know, even the project horses, like they get worked 1 or 2 times a week because, you know, hello, I have a job and I have other animals and other responsibilities. But Hazel, really, I think she's only going to thrive, and I do think she would be a good horse, but only if she's in a situation where she's gonna get worked every day, or like 5 days a week, like almost every day. And so I made the decision to tentatively make her available for sale. I'm not like super hardcore pushing her for sale, but she is for sale at the moment. I have posted her, and I'm going to be very picky about the people that are interested in her, because like I said, I don't want her to go anywhere that like somebody can't handle her bolting problem or her, you know, setback problem, which, let's be real, if I'm being honest, it doesn't happen that often. It's once in a blue moon. She did it at the show a month ago, you know, when I got her out of the trailer and tied her up, you know, in a new place with all this stuff going on. She sat back and then she was done with it. But I don't want to sell her to somebody that will give into that with her. Like for me, once she does it, she snaps out of it, she's done, she's fine for the rest of the day. She can stand tied there. And I don't want somebody who's like, oh my God, the horse set back, like we got to untie it and we got to coddle it and make sure it's okay. No, that is absolutely not what Hazel needs, because she will feed off of that so fast. The first time somebody does that, she's going to be like, oh, all I have to do is just set back and then I get untied and I get to eat grass and I get to do what I want. I think, like, honestly, I think some form of, like, cowboy would be good for her. And I don't like necessarily the cowboy mentality a lot of times, but something that could work the crap out of her, not be afraid of her antics like that, work through them when she does it, and, you know, just keep her on a regular work routine where she's going to get ridden several times a week, and, like, hard ridden, not just, like, putzing around the ring like she's doing at my house right now. That's not doing her any favors. I got on her a few days ago and she bucked me off because the horse has forgotten how to trot under saddle. She's been home a few months. I kind of let her take it easy when she got home, because, like, hello, she just got brought back to, you know, to her is probably another unfamiliar place that she doesn't remember with other horses and stuff. So I kind of let her settle in a little and then put her back to work. But for the most part, we've just been doing some just easy rides to keep her in shape. Well, the other day, I was like, okay, we're at a place now where I trust her and I want to put her back into, like, doing walk and trot. The horse fucking forgets how to trot. I'm kicking her. She won't do anything. Or she, like, looks confused. She's trying to reach over and bite my foot because it's kicking her. And I give her one hard kick and she just bucks. And it wasn't like a big, huge disaster or anything, but she bucks a couple times, throws me off the front of her, and I kind of just, like, catch myself. I get right back up. I literally get right back up, go get her, and get back on. Not a big deal. I get right back on her, but I don't want her to be owned by somebody that when she bucks, they're not going to get back on her, because then that is definitely something she's going to learn. She is smart enough to learn, if I buck, if I throw a fit and I get to be done, that's what she will do. So I got right back on her. And basically, like, I just keep trying to get her into the trot, and she kind of, like, picks up her step a little bit, has more energy in the walk, and I'm rewarding her for that. But ultimately, I'm probably going to have Melanie come back out and put her on the ground with the whip, and, like, we're going to have to reteach her how to go into the trot, because magically, in a matter of a couple months, she's forgotten how to trot. It's just like, oh my gosh. So I posted her for sale in case I know somebody in my friends list, or if I come across somebody that is like a really ideal home for her that I trust to handle her and that will work the crap out of her. I do think she would be a good horse in that scenario, but she's a difficult one, and she's not one just for, a first time, somebody that's buying a project horse for the first time or is a little bit timid. So yeah, anyway, so that's the whole thing with her. And then in the same video, I posted my first ride on Ethel. Ethel is a horse I bought a few weeks ago. Yeah, I think she's only been here a few weeks. And I bought her from a gal in southern Iowa. So we went down to get her. And so she's been home for a while now, and I rode her that day in the vlog. Because I just wanted to see what she would do. I knew she was broke, that's why I bought her. And then I hadn't been on her yet, so I was like, well, let me just hop on her today, see what she does, how she rides, stuff like that. And so she did really well, especially just for me, just riding her in a halter. I literally just rode her in her nylon halter with a lead rope. And it wasn't perfect, but she did fine. She didn't try anything stupid. She walked around and, listened to me well, so... I need to try to get on her again and just kind of keep getting to know her. But some of the comments on that video were pointing out Ethel's legs. So I just wanted to touch on it a little bit because a lot of people were talking about how her fetlocks look like she has DSLD. And I just want to clear it up that yes, she does have DSLD. And she is pretty dropped in the hind end. And I actually was not informed of this until we went down to get her. Honestly, if the gal would have sent me pictures of her fetlocks ahead of time, I don't know if I would have purchased her, but we went like 3 hours to get her. So I brought her back. She wasn't that expensive. I bought her for $1,200. So it's not like I spent an arm and a leg on her. But so far she has never been lame on them. I was talking to the girl about it. She's like, yeah, she does have dropped fetlocks because she thinks she was overworked when she was young. So far she's never been lame. She doesn't show any signs of being in like pain. She will stretch out once in a while, but like otherwise she's not been lame on them. She's still very active. She trots around in her pen out there all the time. So at this point, at this stage, I'm not super worried about it. I will keep an eye on it. I have every intention to keep an eye on, how she's moving and stuff. And the reason that I bought her was because she is older. She's 23, and the girl did say she's broke and she would be good for some lesson kids to plot around on. And so that ultimately was the reason I bought her, because Sugar currently does all the lessons. And when I get more busy during the summertime, sometimes it's a lot on Sugar. And sometimes I don't have enough horse options for different kids and going to the shows and stuff. So I've been kind of wanting to look for something that could help share the load off of Sugar. So I bought Ethel, and based on how she rode the other day, I would say like I like her so far. I obviously need to keep riding her to get to know her a little bit, but I don't have any intention of me being her primary rider. I don't plan to ride her very often, but I do need to ride her at least a little bit to get to know her and teach the kids how to ride her. So, yeah. So she has DSLD. So far, it's not caused her any problems. She's not been lame at all, and she's most likely just going to be a walk trot horse for the little kids. Most of my kids that are in I think I've had them as young as 3. I think that was only 1, but most of them are in like the 8, 9, 10-year-old range. So they're not big kids. All of them are pretty small yet. So she's going to be doing lightweight. And just a little bit of walk and trot just to confidence build for them. If we're going to start cantering or going to any speed shows or anything, we're going to take Sugar or BB for that. Ethel is not going to be hard ridden. She's not going to be a rodeo horse by any means. She's just here to give me a little bit more lesson options for horses. So if I have a kid, like the kid I have right now coming to lessons, he has not been comfortable enough to trot yet. He's just been doing at a walk. And so I would like for him to hopefully ride Ethel a little bit down the line, so Sugar doesn't have to do every single lesson. But and that kid can get more experience riding different horses. But yeah, just so everybody knows, I do have full intentions on keeping an eye on her legs. If for any reason it becomes like a problem for her, or she does start showing signs of pain or not being able to keep up, I will manage that as that comes. Hopefully we can do some therapies for her if there's any like medications or anything. I'd have to talk to my vet about like actually managing DSLD. I've never had a horse really fully have it before, but I did talk to you guys about Luna earlier this year, that I suspect Luna has it in her hind end as well, because she is very dropped and set back on her hind end as well in the fetlocks, and so I've kept an eye on her as well, and she doesn't seem to have any pain or anything bothering her in her hind fetlock. So we'll just see how it goes. Ethel does need to put on some weight still. I started her on grain, but I don't know, the grain hasn't seemed to been doing a lot, so I'll have to try some other things. But she does need some weight before I really want to be riding her much anyway, or using her very much anyways. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it as things go, but for now I am aware of it, and we'll just manage it as it is. So yeah, all right. The other thing I wanted to do today was go over some TikToks. I have been on horse TikTok a lot lately, and there's just like, oh, sorry, had one come up there. Every once in a while you just come across some TikTok horse drama that's really funny. So I have some saved, just some random ones. I did see this morning, this doesn't have to do with TikTok, but I just wanted to bring it up. This morning a KCRG article came across my Facebook that my mom actually tagged me in, and my mom like shared it saying, you know, this is every horse mom's like worst nightmare. And there was an article about a young Amish girl that was found dead because she was out training her horses, and I guess it sounds like she got dragged in the stirrup. Something must have happened and she fell off, but she was stuck and got dragged in the stirrup. The horse dragged her like a quarter mile. So she was dragged for a long time, and they eventually found her passed away. And that is, like my mom said, every horse parent's worst nightmare. And my heart goes out to her and her family, and having to deal with that, because that is very tragic. And you know, I think it is important, like, as people training horses, that there's always going to be people out there that are like, I don't know, there's going to be people that are very hyper safety advocates, and that there's the people on the opposite end that are like, they don't, no helmets, no nothing, they'll get on these young colts and ride the rodeo, let them buck it out and stuff like that. And I feel like I fall very reasonably in the middle, that I am not going to live my life afraid of everything, and I ride my horses without a helmet. My good trail horses and stuff, I ride them. I don't wear a helmet all the time, but I do wear a helmet with my green broke horses, with client horses that I don't know. You know, horses like even Hazel, like, you know, she's been started under saddle. So far she's been riding like fine, and you know, she bucked the other day for the first time and I was fine, but I still make the effort, and I make the awareness to wear a helmet with her, and I probably will for quite a while. And I don't know if this girl was wearing a helmet or not, but I make a conscious decision not to work with client horses when I'm home alone. And this is the type of scenario that encourages that for me, is that I I don't work with client horses, or at least I don't ride them. It's one thing if we're just doing groundwork. I don't get on any super super green broke horses if there's nobody around. Thomas is usually not outside very often, so it's not like he's outside with me most of the time. But I won't get on any horses I don't trust unless he's here. If Melanie's here with me, we'll do it then. Or if I have somebody around. But this is kind of why, is just because maybe I'm overly cautious, but when I hear of situations like this, I don't really feel like I am, that I just don't work alone, because this industry, this sport, this hobby can be dangerous. It doesn't happen as often as I think a lot of anti-horse people think it does, but it does happen. Accidents do happen. And just like this, I don't know if this girl was alone when she was working this horse. Maybe she wasn't alone, and the horse just got away and no one could catch it. But I just make the decision for myself and my own safety that when I have these client horses, I'm not getting on anybody that I don't trust and is not had a really, really good start on them when there's nobody around. And I actually talked to the other trainer, the trainer I sent Hazel to over the winter. She had mostly ran her business out of a public barn where multiple trainers were at. And so there was always people in and out, boarders, barn managers, employees, chore people. There was always people around anytime she was at work, and working with horses. So it was never something she really had to worry about until she moved to a private barn. And that's where Hazel was at, and she was telling me, when her husband isn't there, she's like, I don't know if I really should be working these horses right now because there's nobody around, I guess, if I get hurt. And we talked about how I'm the same way. I don't work with any of the really green broke, untrustworthy horses unless there's people around. But it was just something she never had to consider because she had always ran her business out of a public place and there was always people. So just be safe out there, guys. People training your horses, make decisions. And even if you really trust that horse, even these young horses, they make mistakes. They spook at things. They trip and fall and throw you off balance. We had, a couple years ago, I went on a mock endurance ride with a group, and we all went out and we're just conditioning on the gravel roads and stuff. And I had a friend, or an acquaintance. I knew the girl, but she had just gotten this 11-year-old saddlebred that she broke out and stuff, and the horse was riding really well so far, and so she brought it, and the horse rode really good, but the horse was just newly broke. She was still pretty green. Actually, I think this was her first group ride, and the horse did really good, but just an innocent mistake. The horse was getting sweaty and stuff, and she just shook. The horses will do their whole body shake and stuff under saddle sometimes, and you just gotta hold on till they finish shaking. Well, it was kind of out of the blue, and so the horse shook, and the girl, kind of fell and caught herself on the horse's neck. It just kind of threw her forward, so she caught herself on the horse's neck. Well, this horse was green enough that spooked her, and she was like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? And this girl was trying to rebalance herself on the horse's neck, and the horse just spooked, and the girl fell. The horse actually ended up falling on her because we were on gravel. So the horse was spooking while she was falling and trying to catch herself, and then the horse fell on the gravel and fell on the girl, and it was a whole mess. The horse took off, and we had to try to catch it, but just simple things like that, where the horse did something completely innocent. It wasn't malicious. She just shook under saddle and then spooked herself, and then it was a whole disaster from there. But that's an instance where it could have been a lot worse if this girl was out riding by herself and the same thing happened and she got dragged. So just be safe out there, and I wish the best for that girl's family. And yeah, okay. This is a little interesting. I came across this TikTok, and I actually had seen the talk about it on maybe it was on the news on Facebook or something about the Chabalski's horse. I hope I'm saying that right. I actually have no idea how to pronounce it, but there's an organization, I guess, that follows these wild horses called the Chabalski's horses. and they had lost track of about 3 horses, I think, 3 or 4, one stallion and a few mares. And so recently these horses have just come up at an auction house. At least the stud did. The stud showed up at an auction house, and nobody knows who dropped it off there, but they suspect that this stud, this wild horse stud, is probably the one that they lost track of. So there's thoughts that somebody captured these horses and someone dumped this one off at an auction house, and nobody knows who it was, and really doesn't know what to do with it going forward. So I guess it did get purchased by some people. Somebody bid on it and won the horse. And I came across this TikTok the other day.
Hi, gay people in my phone. You probably don't know this, but right now on horse TikTok, there is this whole big drama going on over these 2 separate people who claim to have found this very endangered species of horse. One was surrendered to a rescue, and the other one is at this barn who claims to have pulled him from a kill pen. And so this type of horse, it's called a Przewalski's horse, is like severely endangered. The only known ones in the States are like basically in zoos. So the one specifically that was pulled from the kill pen, the teenage girls who have claimed to found him say that they did a DNA test on him already, and it came back that he is 100% Przewalski's horse, which, like, apparently DNA tests don't even come back that fast, so red flag there. They also claim to have already called the zoo, and apparently the zoo said that they could keep the horse. The thing is, with this species of horse, it's like genetically incapable of being tamed. So if they were to keep it at their like traditional horse boarding facility, this animal would never not be stressed. A GoFundMe was also set up for the horse to fund them keeping him, despite him clearly needing to be in a breeding program at the zoo to further the species. So right now, people on horse TikTok are like contacting every single wildlife official and like the special breeding program to try to get this horse confiscated from these teenagers. But the thing is, there's also this faction of people who think that the horse is not even a Przewalski's horse. They think that it is a horse-donkey hybrid, not a mule, a hinny, which is like the reverse of a mule. There's also a lot of speculation over if these 2 horses that were found were part of the 4 Przewalski's horses that went missing / stolen like years ago. The rescue that has one is waiting on the DNA test to come back, and if it is a Przewalski's horse, they have said they're going to surrender her to the proper authorities. But basically, myself and every middle school horse girl that you could ever think of are waiting to see if this horse gets seized by the government, so we shall see.
Okay, so that was posted by Appalachian Angel on TikTok, and so I had kind of known about this Przewalski's horse. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but this was the stud that got purchased at auction by these folks. I don't know if they're teenagers or not, but you can actually follow them on TikTok as well. I don't remember what their username is, but they named the horse Shrek. I have no idea if the whole thing about the genetics is actually correct, if they cannot like genetically be tamed, if they don't possess the characteristics to be taught how to live in a domestic environment. I don't know that I believe if this horse would actually be forever stressed living in a domestic environment, if it has herd mates and can live out in a large, pasture or whatever. But I do think that if this is an endangered species, then it should be going somewhere to further the existence of the species. If there are places that own Przewalski's mares, or if there's a person that owns a Przewalski's mare, why would you just keep this wild, ugly horse? I'm not gonna lie, they're not pretty horses. They're not cute horses. The one that this stud Shrek I did find the people that own its TikTok, and I could see the donkey resemblance, but at the same time, this looks like a very ancient breed of horse, and I think all of these really old breeds of horses, like they all look very burrowish, donkey-ish. So I don't know if that actually means it's a hybrid or this horse is just kind of ugly. They don't look like our quarter horses by any means. But if this horse is not able to be tamed, it does not have a purpose or a use, why would you not pass it on to somewhere that it can live in a sanctuary environment and be left alone, or it's going to go further the species that's already endangered? I mean, this is a stud, so if there are people out there with mares, I feel like it's a little irresponsible, I guess, to just keep it just because it's cool. Like, yes, it's in a safe environment. I doubt that the government's gonna do shit. I feel like the government in general, like, I don't think they really care about the wild horses. I don't think they ever really cared about the Mustangs and stuff. While, yes, they're still out roaming and there are some Mustangs that they've been able to manage the population with, I think mostly they're still out there because people are not okay with them being extinct. But I don't think the government cares, especially if this horse is in the U.S., which I believe it is. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this horse really... I don't know. I just think it's kind of irresponsible to just keep it just because it's cool and you're going to put it out with all of your domestic horses. If this horse, I think that they say that, like, donkeys can coexist with horses and they can mimic a natural herd environment and a natural a companionship with horses, but it's never preferred for a single donkey to be living in a herd of horses. They always say if you can get another donkey for them to be with, that is the most ideal. It's same with mules, because the species are different. They don't all communicate exactly the same. They're ultimately not the same animal. And if this horse genetically is a lot different than our horses, it's not really going to be the same type of companionship with our domesticated horses as it would with other Przybylski's horses or other horses of its type. And yeah, it does look, it looks a little donkeyish. I'm not saying this horse is a mule, and actually, maybe this is stupid, maybe I'm just dumb, but I didn't realize there was another name for, like, I didn't realize there was a thing called a henny. I thought they were all just donkeys, or not donkeys, mules. Whether it was a jack breeding a horse or a male stallion breeding a donkey. I mean, I didn't think it made a difference, but apparently it does. I guess they have different names. But yeah, so that's the thing with the Przybylski's horses. I don't really know what to say about it. I think I did follow the people that have him now, but yeah, okay. This next one is, so this guy posted this video of a horse that must live next to him, and he's trying to help it.
Yeah, so my neighbors moved, or they're selling their house, and they haven't been here for like a month. And this horse just seems to be stranded on their property. He doesn't look like he's doing too good to me, although I don't know much about horses. And there's not much to eat here, although there is a pond. So I've been bringing him food. And he's got like little cuts on him and stuff. So if you know about horses, tell me what I should do. But I thought about calling him and asking him if I could have the horse, but I don't have a fence. So I got to figure something out. But anyway, pretty horsey. And yeah, I don't know. What should I do?
Okay, that was posted by Charlie Mars on TikTok, and so he has this video of this. It looks like a halflinger, who is extremely skinny and emaciated. He's got some cuts on him, and he's in a pasture at the fence line, and as you heard, the guy is trying to help him because he thinks he's been abandoned. I guess the horse has a pond, so there must be some access to water, but the grass is pretty short. I mean, he is in a pasture, so like there's grass and stuff, but it's pretty short. But this horse is very thin, and what has people spiraling in the comments is the guy said he's been bringing the horse food, and he shows in the video that he, you know, pans the camera down. He has just dumped an entire bag of what looks like horse feed or senior feed of some sort, and the horse is just eating the pile. And so a lot of people are telling him definitely to call a vet or call the police. It does look like the horse has been abandoned, but it is obviously, it's the primary point here is that the guy does care about the horse and it's feeding him and trying to help him. The problem is that he has just dumped 50 pounds of feed out for this horse that has no weight on him. So I think the horse is okay. It sounds like he's been doing this and the horse is managing fine, but a very, very big red flag in the comments is to not give the horse that much grain at a time. Luckily, the horse has not choked or colicked yet, but definitely it's a high possibility with as much feed as this person is giving. It's good that he is on TikTok asking people for help because, like he said, he doesn't know really anything about horses. But I had some boarders that did this for a while. When they would run out of hay, they would just bring a 50-pound bag of like sweet feed or complete feed or something and dump it out for their horses to eat. And it was unreal. And this was when I was doing self-care board, so don't come at me. It was in our boarding agreement that I was not providing the food source for their horses. So they took it upon themselves to bring out feed and just give that to their horses. And I literally, like, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God. It's a miracle. And same with this horse, that it hasn't choked or hasn't colicked or anything like that. But bless this guy's heart for helping the horse. Hopefully it finds a home, or, you know, is able to, somebody takes it or confiscates it from this property or whatever. But yeah. Okay, this next one is kind of interesting. It's very sad. So yeah, let's just get into it.
So I just went through one of the scariest things I've ever been through in my life. We were just supposed to be hauling our horses to the arena for an arena hire to do some jumps, and while we were driving, the trailer popped off because somebody took off our pin. They pulled our pin at the stoplight. And then I watched our trailer go in the lane next to us, hop the curb, and roll into the ditch with both of our horses inside. The trailer was stuck on its side for a solid hour. We got one of the horses up within like 15 minutes, but Brandy was stuck on her side for about a half hour. She stopped breathing a couple times. It was so scary. I just don't know why someone would pull the pin on our trailer. It felt like somebody just ran into us, and then I just looked out the window and I just saw the trailer going. Thankfully, we got both the horses up, and they're walking. Brandy's not walking great. She's definitely injured both of her back legs, but she can move, which is a huge blessing. And also, there was no cars in the road when the trailer went through, so it didn't hit anybody else, but it was so scary. So if you guys could just keep us in your prayers. I really thought Brandy was gonna die in that mud. I didn't think she was gonna get back up. Just something about watching a trailer roll with your horses inside. It's one of the most terrifying things.
Okay, that was posted by Squall Box. And obviously very tragic. That's a horrible thing to have happen. I have lost trailers off of my truck before, a couple times. Luckily, never with any horses inside, but it is really scary when it happens, even, you know, with even empty, because it damages things, it damages your truck, and you don't want it to go into the other lane of traffic, and really terrifying. You don't know if you're going to get it hooked back up or if it broke, or so I would probably be in the same emotional state as her if that ever happened to me. However, there have been some questions in the comments, because what she says in the video is that they were driving down the road and they stopped at a stoplight and somebody pulled the pin out of their hitch. And she was pulling a bumper pull as well. So this wasn't a gooseneck. It was just a small 2-horse bumper pull. And that is all I have personally ever pulled, was bumper pulls. So I know exactly how they hook up. And while I absolutely feel for this girl, I think it's terrible. This is a terrible thing to happen. I hope that, you know, her horses end up okay and that she's okay. I do agree somewhat with the comments. So I'm just going to read a few of them. Somebody just commented, "Or did you forget the pin?" She talks about how they had multiple people, I guess, helping that day. So there was multiple people there hooking up the trailer. Somebody said, "There is a reason you need to hook up the safety chain." Somebody else commented, "How did you not see someone walk up to the back of your truck? Sorry that happened, but serious question." And the OP responded and said, "I had no reason to stare out the rear view while stopped at a stoplight, and the person definitely snuck up there and didn't just walk up." Somebody said, "Did anyone see who did it? Are there cameras at the stoplight or officers that can look at it? I'm so sorry this happened." And yeah, so like, I get where people are coming from with the questions, because personally my trailers all have, I know there's a couple different designs, but most of them all have the same design, where you lower the hitch onto the ball of your truck, and there's almost like, it's like a clamp that wraps around the ball. So when it's hooked up properly and it clamps the ball shut, it literally can't come off the ball, whether there's a pin in it or not, because it's wrapped around the ball, and then you close the mechanism that doesn't allow it to open, and then you pin it shut. So the pin is like the last ordeal, the last piece of the puzzle, and is just basically a small extra safety measure. Those pins are very tiny. A lot of force could break one. And then you hook up the safety chains as well, and the safety chains have worked out in my favor personally. When I lost my little red 2-horse, when I went to go pick up Grace, shout out Grace if you guys remember her, I actually lost the trailer on the way there because I did not properly close the clamp around the ball, and so it just popped up and off when I hit a pothole, and the chains caught it. And they say you're supposed to cross the chains under your hitch and under your ball, so that if that happens, the hitch will then fall into the chains, and the chains will catch it like a cradle. So like, I've done it before, it happens, but I've never done it without a pin. Like, my orange trailer right now doesn't even have a pin. Like, you just close the thing that wraps around the ball, you close it off, and it doesn't even have an extra pin that goes through it. It's never come off as long as it's closed properly. Okay, so there's that, and then she posted this follow-up video.
Now that I'm a little more put together, I can tell you guys the full story of what happened. So it all started when me and my little sister decided to go take our horses to an arena hire, which is only like, I don't know, an 8-minute drive away from my house. We have hauled our horses in this trailer so many times, like hours away for trail rides, never had an issue. There was nothing wrong with the trailer. So anyways, we get in the trailer, I'm the one driving, it's just her and me, and we got 2 horses in tow, and we're driving, and we're probably like 3.5 miles down the road. And I stop at one of the intersections, and in this area, you do stop for a little bit. So we had stopped, we braked at a light, we were waiting, and then I started going, and I felt a jolt in the back of the truck, and it felt like somebody had rear-ended us. And so at that point, I was like, oh, that's weird. And then my sister starts screaming, and I look out the window, and so I just saw that black trailer just off and just rolling in the lane next to us. It was probably going 15-20 miles per hour, both of the horses in it, and I mean, my sister and I could do nothing but just scream because, like, there was nothing we could do to stop it. Thankfully, there was nobody in the lane where it was going. It almost hit a traffic light pole, but it didn't. But I just watched that trailer just start coasting by itself, and it hit the curb at an angle, and then it proceeded to roll twice with the horses inside. And the whole time, my sister and I are just screaming and sobbing because there was nothing we could do. So I veer over to that next lane, and I just park the truck and I jump out. And when we get there to go look at what had happened, I looked inside, and Felix was on top of Brandy, and Brandy was hanging by her halter because the trailer was in a ditch and it was kind of like this. So Abby and I immediately just start trying to unhook Brandy so that she can breathe, and we managed to get her halter unsnapped. And I don't even remember when people started showing up, but there was probably like 15 people that just showed up out of nowhere. The police were called, they arrived on the scene. My dad showed up because he was on the phone with us at the time when the accident happened. But essentially the trailer was destroyed, the horses were stuck. It took us 30 minutes to 45 minutes to get Brandy up. We got Felix up first since he was on top, but we had to have 10 people pull her by her back legs with lead ropes just to get her out of the mud and able to stand up. But she had stopped breathing a couple times while she was laying there. Like, her eyes started to glaze over, and when I was sitting in that trailer, like, I thought I was saying goodbye. It was her slipping away and her life trying to slip away and just give up it was so real. So anyways, after the cops got there, they started looking around. They're like, how did this happen? Like, why would the trailer just jump off? Like, this doesn't make sense. So we start to investigate what the trailer looks like and everything. And they just were hearing our story of, like, what happened. And they essentially deduced it to the fact that somebody had pulled the pin on our trailer at the stoplight. This hitch is not one that we just take on and off all the time. This was always on my dad's truck. Like, we never fiddled with it. It was just there, and we hooked the trailer up right. We had 3 people hooking up the trailer who have hooked up trailers several times, and the hitch was never messed with. We drove 3.5 miles before it popped off, so there was no way that the pin was off at the house because we hit train tracks, bumps, turns, we backed the trailer. None of that would have been possible if the pin was not there to begin with. So essentially while we were stopped, somebody pulled the pin, and then when I started driving again, the trailer came off the hitch, bumped into my dad's truck, took out the taillight, and bumped into the bumper, and then just went. Anyways, we don't know who pulled the pin on the trailer or why. Unfortunately, the only light that had a camera on it was the one right before where we were at, so we don't have any footage of who did it. But the horses are okay, the people are okay, the trailer's totaled, but we're just glad that everybody was able to get up and walk out. There was a lot of blessings and miracles last night. The horses ended up in mud instead of on gravel. They didn't hit any buildings or oncoming cars or any pedestrians. People were around and saw it happen, and first responders were there immediately. The horses are okay. We're okay. We're all shaken up, but we're okay.
Okay, so that's basically the gist of her video. So some of the comments say, as somebody who has pulled trailers for 12 plus years with that much weight on it, it would be nearly impossible to just undo the pin without you seeing. Somebody said, hold on. Someone pulled the pin at a stoplight and no one was to witness that. Or what if the pin just broke? Why is there a rumor that someone pulled out the pin? Were there other cars at this intersection? Cars next to you or behind you? I don't understand how no one saw. So basically, I don't think these people are hating, but just not really understanding how this could happen with just absolutely no witnesses. The girls in the car not seeing anybody walking down the street or anybody to suspect. And I guess it just doesn't really add up. And I can understand that personally from being somebody that has pulled bumper trailers for a long time. And my trailers all, yes, there is a slot where you can put a pin in some of them. But even if you pull the pin out, none of mine would just come off. Like, the clasp that holds the hitch around the ball, you still have to manually pull that up to release it. So I guess unless they did all of it, they pulled the pin and then undid the ball. But that takes a minute. Like, when I do mine, it's not just like a 2-second thing. You got to take the pin off and then wiggle the clamp up, like they're metal, so they don't just like slide right up. You got to like, I don't know how somebody could do that, I guess, without seeing somebody approach the back of your truck, without hearing them fiddle with the things. I don't know. I don't get it either. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they figure out what happened, who did it, if somebody else did it, if something just broke, if they find the pin broke in the street anywhere, or what the deal is, because it doesn't really seem like it adds up to me. But I'm glad that her horses are alive and okay, and that they're all right. That is an absolutely terrifying thing to happen. And this is actually exactly why, this is why I meant to bring this up. This is why anytime I stop for gas, even if it's in my hometown where I know people and I'm not suspicious of anybody, even if it's at a truck stop when we're stopping on the road, anywhere, anytime I stop for gas, and I come back out to my truck, I walk around and I just do a lap around the trailer, or I peek back there and look at the hitch, because I have heard of people undoing hitches before. Never at a stoplight, mostly like in a parking lot or something. When we went to get Rojo, we stopped in a Denny's to eat breakfast, and when we came back out, I just peeked at the hitch, made sure that it looked right, and then we left. But I have heard of it happening before. Never like this at a stoplight, and I've never been able to just blame my trailer coming undone on just a pin, because most bumper pulls don't work that way. Like, the pin is just like a literal minuscule safety measure that it would not come down to it in a catastrophe or anything most of the time. So I don't get it. Glad her horses are okay. I hope they do take some sort of action to see if anybody had a security camera, any other light cameras that could see it, anything. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode here, because I want to get outside and get some stuff done today. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening. Hopefully we'll have Mel on again sometime soon. So leave some ideas down below, leave some questions down below, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.